G'day YouTube, today's video is brought to you by the very lovely people at No Starch Press. They sent me a couple of these Mindstorm books to review for them, just to share with you, give you my thoughts on them and just generally introduce you to them. These two are recently published and I'll put the links down below to Amazon if you're interested in buying them. But yeah, Mindstorm is something I've been intrigued by for a very long time and I've never ever gotten into because really I'm lazy and I didn't know how to get into it, which makes this kind of book absolutely perfect for me. So we've got the Getting Started with LEGO Mindstorms and Mastering LEGO Mindstorms, so obviously the more advanced stuff, and it's perfect. I will say the timing of these books is slightly unfortunate because LEGO has just announced that they've discontinued Mindstorms, but that's actually a very good thing for people like me and you who don't have Mindstorms, or maybe do have Mindstorms and want to get more out of it. For me personally, I don't, but I'm going to be looking for Mindstorms on clearance. It's been on my list to have a look for ages, so I'll be setting up some alerts on that, and I can start to use these books. So what I'm going to do is give you a quick look through the book. I can't show you the whole thing, obviously, because that would mean you wouldn't have to buy the book then. But yeah, I really appreciate No Starch Press books. I've done reviews for them before, and the quality, I love books. Like, for me, books are awesome. I love the quality of their stuff. I love the way it's laid out and thought through. Generally their authors are really good, so I'm expecting a lot from this, so let's have a look at it. Let's start with Getting Started with LEGO Mindstorms. I love from the very beginning, we've got this really cute owl on the front with a camera and some servo controlled wings there. You can see this is going to be a fun build from the beginning, and I hadn't actually realized how much of the powered up sort of borrows technology from Mindstorms. That's very cool. So yeah, getting straight into it, little note from the authors there. Building your first robot, that's what we want. But there's lots and lots of stuff in here. So I mean, it goes all the way through from building your first robot, introduction to the app itself, working with light and sound, always important, motors and movement. Interesting that that comes before motors and movement. You'd think everyone wants to get into movement first, but that makes sense. And then events and control, so how you tag things together to say do this when this happens, things like that. Using other sensors, color sensors, distance sensors. Interestingly, I've actually got the color sensor for one of my trains, which again shows the connection between powered up and Mindstorms. I'm going to be using a color sensor in that to actually control when one of my train stops and starts and changes direction, much like the old monorail. Using the remote control operations, and then getting into sort of more of the programming concepts, so using variables, lists. That's the bit where sort of my bread and butter will be, being a programmer myself. And then what to do, the ever important troubleshooting. Things never ever go to plan, you will have issues. And then I like the fact they've got some techniques for better building. That's very important. Some ideas, their experience going into how they build, the issues they've had and ways they improve what they do. I think that's a brilliant thing to have in there. And fixes for fairy tales and fables. Interesting. We'll have a look at what that means a bit more. So yeah, some acknowledgement, bit of background on there, and straight into building a car. I like that. First thing, let's build something fun. Let's say something's going to zoom around the desk. That's good. I like that a lot. So yeah, the actual process of building it, the parts that go into it, and then actually just how it works, making it work, and some alternatives. There you go. Brilliant. Great start. And then we get into more of the sort of more in-depth stuff, so actually doing the programming here using the app. Weather manager, crikey, didn't realize you could program it based on the weather. This is such a good system. It's such a shame that LEGO's decided to discontinue this. Light blocks, now this is interesting because you can see how you can use sort of the same color and different colors to control how things work. So again, the same concept goes through to powered up. This is how a lot of the powered up stuff works. And then, yeah, the idea of the programming as you go through. Fantastic. Let's have a look at what else is in here. So again, showing you a lot of the sort of remote controlled functions. So when certain things are done on a controller, how to make it control your robot in various ways, the inputs, the outputs. Basically, what Lego built for this is a very simplified programming approach, and it works really well. I've used it to program some of my trains, actually, to do a couple of things differently, so which I must do in another video. Actually, it's a very good point. But yeah, interesting here as well. This shows you what's built into the sensors, and again, interestingly, Lego actually does make a powered up version of this using those same connectors. Very, very interesting. Obviously this has got a bit more horsepower than what's in the powered up system. And then let's have a look at the fables and fairy tales here. So these are all interesting ideas around using different tools, making different builds. The fox and the pheasants. Oh right, yeah, I see. Interesting. Interesting. I like this. Oh yep, and then here we go. We've got a sort of using a beam to rock. You could use that to build some gates for your trains, for example. Cameras there. This is very, very good. I mean, this is the important stuff. All of these sort of steps around how to use the programming tool and chain events together. And this is what I was saying, where we're getting more into the programming thing. I'm not going to show you too much detail because that would give away the book, but how they're chaining together things to say do things, do this, do that. And this is lists, obviously, but in here we've got a bit more where they're actually saying count for certain numbers and things like that. So I think that's a really good introduction to how to use it from looking through that without actually having the sets to build, which is a shame. I really wish I did have the Mindstorm set to build with. That is a very good, basically how it works. There's a lot in there. I mean, there's no way Lego would publish an instruction manual like that, so it's brilliant that authors are making books like this. Good start, good start. Moving on to the more advanced stuff, Mastering LEGO Mindstorms. So this is working with Python and word blocks. I'm not sure what the word blocks is. I will confess, I haven't actually flicked through this book because it scares me very slightly, just because it could suck you in and do into a whole world, and that's not a bad thing, but I just don't have the spare time at the moment. I love programming. I used to, as a kid, love sort of watching the robotics that was coming through at the time, because bear in mind, when I was a kid, this was all sort of beginning, and this is so advanced compared to what we had when I was a kid. There we have a giraffe on the front page, admittedly with short legs, but that doesn't matter. Is it a giraffe? I presume it's a giraffe. Again, sort of following the same pattern, same authors, and then where's our index? Bit of a shorter index this time. So introduction to programming with Python here. I'll be interested to see how much it goes into actually programming with Python, because obviously you need to know Python in the first place, but Python is actually quite an easy language to sort of wrap your head around at the beginning, so wouldn't take a lot. I haven't learnt Python in detail. I have looked at it, never needed to use it, so I haven't actually gone into any depth. And then yeah, looking at some of the more complicated ideas of Python, programming efficient Python, and then so it's not till we get to even chapter 4 that so this is teaching you the basics of using Python, and in chapter 4 we start to use the actual sensors and motors to control it. So it's taken us 4 chapters to get to that point. It's good that they've laid that groundwork. That's what you need in this book if you're going to do those more advanced things. And then again, working through gears, gyros, avoiding obstacles and stuff. So obviously being programmed rather than the sort of object approach that was in the main app, you can actually control it to dodge things and react to things a lot better. Playing games with it, awesome. That's amazing that that's in there. I hadn't realized that was in there. And then some useful things as well, helping around the house, inventions for children, inventions for plants, building a seed dispenser and a houseplant helper, and useless inventions. And then some ultimate challenges as well. That's very, very cool. So yeah, I mean, here we go, like you can see they're teaching you the programming of Python. I'm not going to go through that in depth because obviously that's something you've got to be interested in doing, but the advantages of this approach are you get much more control over what happens with things. Like, in effect, this one's a simple one. This is using what's in the app but written in a programmatic form, and you know, if anything, that makes more sense to me because I'm less reliant on an interface that has simplified things down to the point where you can get a bit confused. So this is good. The going to this lower level, this actually is very exciting. I like, this is so good how they've gone through and giving you these basic concepts of Python, and then they start to go into actually programming your sensors to actually make them do things. Again, I mean, it's the same principle of using the yaw, the roll, the pitch. So what the sensor actually gives you out of the box is very important. Interestingly, they do show you these other programming from within the app. So I'm guessing this is going to show you that, and then they're going to show you the Python version. Yeah, there we go. So that's what I was saying about how this is the simplified interface, and then it's going into Python to say this is how you do it the Python way. So you can see there's some quite advanced stuff in there. This is like very it's such a big thing to write. So, and then they've gone and written it down in Python, and it actually looks neater. I find this more readable than this, believe it or not. That's how programmers work. And then looking at some of the biome. Oh god, a cockroach. No, got enough cockroaches at the moment, thank you very much. Yep, sports. Programming the motor to only move when someone is present. Brilliant. And that's a great use for this tool as well. So making it react when someone comes near it, things like that. Drawing shapes. Security, building a security box as well. That's awesome. Yeah, this is good. There's some great ideas in here. Some very like inspirational, and again, programming a game too. Some very inspirational stuff in there. Like some really well thought out ideas. I like the fact they've gone into that, like the challenges at the end as well, doing some more sort of extreme things with it using this Python approach. Sorry, and the word blocks is obviously what I was showing you there. I didn't realize that's what they were called. Where is it? No, I can't find one. These are the word blocks. I didn't realize that's what it was called. Newbie. So that was a quick tour of the books. I really like the content of them. I mean, this one scares me slightly because it means I have to learn Python. I don't know Python, as I said, but also has some concepts around using the programming tools that come with it. It's interesting how the programming tools that are used in this is what now guides like the Powered Up app and things like that. It's good to see the connection. I mean, this does get me very excited about using Mindstorms. I wish I had more time, but I reckon my kids are going to love this. So if I can track down some Mindstorm sets, I think they are going to be in for a ball. They have been learning to program already. So, but I'd love to know what you think. If you are a Mindstorms user already, do these look useful to you, or do you think they're good introductions to people like me who haven't used Mindstorms, who really want to use it? The overall quality, as always, is top notch from No Starch Press. Highly recommended as a publisher. I just love their work. I love the way they treat their authors. They're good. They're a good publisher in my opinion. So yeah, as I said, the links are down below if you're interested in them. Does support my channel. They are affiliate links. Let me know what you think of these in the comments, and if you're new here, hit subscribe, and please give this video a like so YouTube knows you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again very, very soon.